hold on for a second. If words can be weapons, then what I say can affect it. They're not just words on a record, and I can choose to respect it or choose to infect it. But once that hits the water, it's too late to be selective. Cause one voice is enough to make sleeping giants wake up, to make armies put their hands up and watch whole nations stand up. It's one belief, one spark, one faith and one restart, and we can reboot the whole chart before it all falls apart. So stand up, shout it out, and put them in the air if you like it loud. We only got one shot, so let's make it count. It's a takedown, nobody can stop us now. Stand up, shout it out, sing it loud so the world can't drown us out. And before we depart, let's leave a mark, cause light shines brighter in the dark. When we scream, our lips don't make a sound. We march with feet on solid ground. We walk where no one wants to go on this untraveled road. So hold on for a moment. If we're not scared of opponents, then with what we have we can own it. We'll just plant the seed and keep growing it. And when that light shines in the morning, they'll still be waking up yawning. We'll be smiling like we expected, with sweet victory in one method. Cause one voice is enough to make sleeping giants wake up, to make armies put their hands up and watch whole nations stand up. It's one belief, one spark, one faith and one restart, and we can reboot the whole chart before it all falls apart. So stand up, shout it out, and put them in the air if you like it loud. We only got one shot, so let's make it count. It's a takedown, nobody can stop us now. Stand up, shout it out, sing it loud so the world can't drown us out. And before we depart, let's leave a mark, cause light shines brighter in the dark. When we scream, our lips don't make a sound. We march with feet on solid ground. We walk where no one wants to go on this untraveled road. When we scream, our lips don't make a sound. We march with feet on solid ground. We walk where no one wants to go on this untraveled road. And I can choose to respect it or choose to infect it. But once that hits the water, it's too late to be selective. Cause one voice is enough to make sleeping giants wake up, to make armies put their hands up and watch whole nations stand up. It's one belief, one spark, one faith and one restart, and we can reboot the whole chart before it all falls apart. When we scream, our lips don't make a sound. We march with feet on solid ground. We walk where no one wants to go on this untraveled road. When we scream, our lips don't make a sound. We march with feet on solid ground. We walk
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sanctuary League Week 2. Joining us, Linus and Sandbag, taking you through this next set of games, Assassins and Greed. Gonna be taking on the challengers here. Linus, how you feeling? Walk us through it.
I'm feeling great. This is the last game of week one. Week one was already full of lots of interesting games, lots of games that went to like minute 40. And this is one that I'm also really excited for because on one side we have Assassins and Greed, who are like one of the favorites in the tournament, and then we have Shadow Phoenix, who are one of the middle of the pack teams that have the aspiration to rise up and like beat the top teams to get their own position in like the top ranking for everyone. So this is a matchup that I'm really interested in because I think it can set the tone for like the next weeks.
Bit of not quite David and Goliath situation, but definitely upward mobility, right? Looking to prove themselves and a little bit push it forwards. This is still the end of week one. Is that what you're saying? This is the tail end of it?
Yeah, that's the tail end. We just had a game finish like a few minutes ago. It was not streamed, but it was Cannibulins against Epitome. Cannibulins took it with a 2-0. So this is the last game. After this, the next week will be randomized because like we have a Swiss league. That means that you don't play every team, but you play teams with similar records. So yeah, if you win this, you are already in a good position because then you keep playing the good teams and you keep getting a better Buchholz score. And with like actually there are three teams that were considered the favorites by many. One of them is Assassin's Creed. The other two are Invicta and Vecchi Bress, who played each other yesterday and drew. So of the three favorites, Assassin's Creed can, with a win, rise to the sole position on the top of the league for now.
Actually that's true. If they split 1-1 on either side, being able to pick up the 2-0 would continue to bubble you up to the top and again continue some momentum up towards the top of that. Are we feeling like this is going to be that lopsided that it's a 2-0, or do you picture a 1-1 on the horizon? What's the how confident are you in saying underdogs versus the upper seeds?
I mean, I if you would put me on the spot and I had to call out a score, then I would definitely say it's a 2-0 for Assassin's Creed.
Mm.
I feel like they are much stronger than Shadow Phoenix, but they are not so much stronger that I would put my life on the line for 2-0 here. Like I can totally see it go 1-1 or even 2-0 for Shadow Phoenix. Assassin's Creed sometimes has those days where they are just like not feeling it, where their main carry is trouble and Jordy, the two solo laners, like they have a down day and don't really get into a position where they can carry the game. And I feel like if that's one of those games, then Shadow Phoenix could really just pop off here.
Looking to keep those solos in check. And speaking of those solos, if I'm not mistaken, the featured matchup is going to be those solos up in that top lane. Jordy, is that correct in saying that's where really we're looking where we're looking?
Yeah, that's right. Our featured matchup is Jordy against Neon, the Shadow Phoenix top laner. I've not seen too much of Neon so far. I've seen him in one other league, I think, and he put up a pretty decent gameplay there. But Jordy is like the super top of Assassin's Creed, and I see that we're already in ban, so let's keep this featured matchup to the side for now and go over to the pick and ban phase.
Yep, looking to rock and roll in here. I'm expecting Maokai taken away, as you saw in the featured matchup. That seems to be a menace, maybe second rotation stuff. And Trouble Bubble, naturally, the sleepy Trouble Bubble kept firmly on the bench with the Zoe ban alongside the other sleep in the Lilia.
Yeah, and I always see the span against Assassin's Creed, like the Zoe, the one trick of Draw Bubble. It's just really good to take out. We can also see the Maokai ban, which you just highlighted a few seconds ago, followed up by Skarner. Skarner are really, really strong right now, so I can also understand that you banned that out on red side.
Yep, Blue One Skarner feels like it doesn't have any incredibly solid answers, so just removing it off the table and make sure that you've maybe a little bit more parity in terms of these Wukongs, these J4s that seem to be rising in priority. Skarner can kind of ignore them and brush them off.
Yeah, and you just mentioned like Wukong, Jarvan, Xin which are all great, and I think Talia is a really great pick into all of those. If you can pilot the Talia well, you can just shut them down in a lot of moments. So that one is also taken off the board. Maybe that's already highlighting which jungler you want to pick on Assassin's Creed, which type of jungler. Of course, it could also be a ban for the mid lane. And we see the Syndra as the third ban being hovered. Yeah, it's the Syndra ban.
Yep, taking away another one of these high priority control mages, stuff like the Ori, stuff like the Syndra. The days of Assassin v Assassin, Zeds versus Akalis versus Silas's gone by the wayside. It's all about space, it's all about waves, and as such, some of these priority in-betweens taken away. Diana Hover would immediately put the words back in my mouth, and I would be hyped for it.
Yeah, I mean, you rarely see Diana these days. Often paired up with the Yasuo.
Hey,
Like that's a strategy some teams are still doing. I think that's a really, really ballsy first pick because it's a flex pick, right? You can pick her in jungle, you can pick her in mid lane. Um, I think
yeah,
on neither of those positions she's really great at the moment. Like it's a comfort pick for sure.
you also run into a situation where only one of those two actually pilots it. Trouble Bubble doesn't have a Diana game to my knowledge. Maybe has a handful recently, even in the last 24 hours, a couple games. So I'd expect it to be jungle. Viego to match up against it. The jack of all trades, this champ, it never feels bad to have one.
Yeah, I agree. I think Viego is always a good pick for your team. He just offers a lot. He offers damage. You can also go a bit more tanky, so you have like a secondary front line. And we have the Corki. Corki, of course, really strong right now. Can go mid lane, can go bot lane. Where do you expect him?
I would expect him more towards that bot lane, as those hard CC combinations. You wait for your Triforce, and then you can just blow squishy members off the face of the earth. Once your combo hits, because they're held in place by the Knots and the Leos and such, so I'd expect bot, but again, potential flexibility. Varus has considered, just considerably rose his way up these tier lists as more and more banned. He's going to be finding his footing. I do wonder about hard CC into Varus can really be a nuisance without any mobility. And mobility, Mbessa bringing that through and through.
Yeah, and Varus is the most comfort ADC of I Won't Leash of the ADC of Assassin's Creed. So that's another comfort pick, even though Varus, of course, really strong right now. Ambassador, really interesting pick. I have not seen Jordi pick it up so far, but I'm pretty sure that he would do a good time with it. The Poppy, a good answer into Ambassador. Like, Ambassador's always dashing, so no matter when you pop your W, you're most likely gonna get the knock-up and the how is it called? Grounded effect.
The ground is going to be guaranteed when they've dashed 17 times during the course of your W.
Yes. Also against Diana, of course, Diana wants to jump in. A good Poppy can react to that and just shut the
Mm.
Diana engage down.
Speaking of grounded, next one off that ban list is the Miasma herself, Cassiopeia. Taken away, Mbessa wants nothing to do with a champion that will hold her in place. And the Renata Glask answered in kind. More of that hybrid, kind of a hook champ, kind of an enchanter, little bit of this, little bit of that. Always nice to have.
And I mean, that's something that you saw from like a lot of the new champions. They just have a lot of different things in their kit. Same
Mm.
as Renata. But yeah, we see the Galio taken off. I wonder if that's because of the bug that recently got posted. You can at the moment you can flash with Galio
The E
and like
Flash.
yeah,
Yep.
which actually the team captain of Shadow Phoenix asked me about. He was like, "Is Galio allowed?" And we said, "Yeah, it's allowed." Like, right, hasn't confirmed the bug, so maybe that's why
Mm.
they have taken him out. And Alistar is well being taken off the board.
Yep, two more hard CC champions are gonna be taken away when you have both Taunt and Justice Punch and Pulve and Headbutt and Trample technically with the E auto attack. You want to try and make these immobile champions, such as the Varus, have a horrible time. The Rel, more hard CC coming in, maybe just that one step down, and that's that quirky pairing I was talking about.
Yeah, and that's just something that I'm missing right now from Assassin's Creed, and that's a real frontline. Yes, of course, Diana and Ambassador can both frontline a bit, but like they are missing still a tank. Because when Rel is flying in, maybe paired up with a Viego engage or whatever, then it gets really hard for this team to stop that right now.
And they shall walk one down the list and pick up a Leona. Hard CC abounds and frontline out of that Aftershock, out of that WMR and armor. That's a little bit more durable. It's still on a support budget, but we've all experienced the Leona 1v1ing our AD carries with all of those resists.
Yeah, and we finished this comp up with a Wei, apparently. Yeah, Wei. I really like this pick from Trowbubble. I feel like he's really good at piloting it. And I'm also really happy that he didn't pick like another dashing champion here because the Poppy already gained more value with the Leona, in theory.
Mm.
And Wei is really good range-wise into this comp from Shadow Phoenix because they have a hard time so far getting on Wei and Varus when there's like Leona and Diana between them.
You also need to keep in mind that this isn't the Corki of old. This isn't the stand back and throw big ones at you from a screen and a half away. He wants to actually get in there. So in terms of range, Shadow Phoenix, I will say, severely lacking. Ari, of course, with the mobility, sure, but Hui, played correctly and spaced appropriately, will effectively remain untouched unless gap closed upon.
Yeah, we will see how Shadow Phoenix deals with it. If they get a good engage, if they get an engage on Varus or on Wei, then that's really, really great. But I'm kind of afraid that they will not get the opportunities to get those engages. Like they will just be zoned off from afar. Maybe have their members picked off when they're trying to flank. So I don't know. Draft wise, I kind of feel like this one goes to Assassin. What do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say, on the whole, I would probably prefer the blue side draft. It's a little bit more reliable. It's a little bit more. You have more contingencies, right? Obviously, once the Viego starts resetting, he can run over a fight, but how do you get in? There's a Rel engage, but even that is. She's effectively going in alone. Normally, you want to have the dive buddy, you want to have, in pairs, such as your Gallios, such as your Camille's, and such. She's going to dive in alone. It's going to be gobbled up by the hard CC out of Leona, I fear. And then what?
Yeah, I mean that's the question. I feel like can they get on top or not? We'll see. I'm kind of wondering who has the better early game here. Because I feel like Diana, Varus, and Wei, they're all okay, but like they're also struggling and kind of they kind of need their first one or two items to really get going. On the other side, I feel like Viego is really strong early on already,
Mm.
in like those 1v1 situations, and yeah, with rel engages or maybe Ari charms, they can maybe take the early game for them.
And certainly around bot lane. I will say that much about the Shadow Phoenix comp. Corki, even once he gets a singular item, he only needs that Triforce realistically. And he will put a significant amount of threat down, and it must be respected. Because you're held down long enough, sure, technically they removed a slight bit of CC from the rel combo, so it's no longer guaranteed Q into W like it used to be, but it's still plenty enough for him to hit the phosphorus, for hit the combo. You're getting shredded by Gatling gun. Varus, regardless of if there's a break to flash, he still must flash, he must get out, and he will be losing those fights.
Yeah. Let me just put up the featured matchup again, so we can maybe
Mm.
talk about that one a bit more because we were interrupted. I mean, you can see the ambassador there for Jordi. I heard, I read in stream that he was boasting an hour ago, being like, "If they leave ambassador open, I'm gonna pick it." So that's what happened here. Um, what do you think about this ambassador pick? Like, what do you think about ambassador right now in this state of game?
I feel like Mbessa is going to fall into a similar style of niche as the Cassante does, where it's all about the pilot. Because this champion can look absolutely ridiculous with the sheer volume of mobility. He's got the fat W shield, you've got lifesteal, you've got sustain, you've got armor shred. Like you have, as we were talking about, new champs double dip into a little bit of everything, and yet you can also just be an idiot, eat a Poppy W, and die. Right? So that is that other side of the coin here. I personally like it. Unless you're into a truly stat checky champion, it can absolutely wreak havoc. And it feels like Jordy's been putting some work in. It is his most played this split. Granted, new champion, etc., etc. But I like it personally, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do with it.
Yeah, I also am really looking forward to seeing him on Ambassa. I've not seen Ambassa in the SNCL so far in the Sanctuary League. So this is also first for me. But yeah, I feel like the Poppy just has a really good matchup here. As long as he doesn't use his W over aggressively or at the first second he can. He always has a tool to get away with, or he always has a tool to lock down the Ambassador in fights for grubs or whatever. Um, so I think it really comes down to whether Jordy can find those angles where he can just pop off, or if he just gets like shut down every single time he tries to do something. I mean, also Ari and Rel and Viego, they can also shut down an Ambassador if she like just goes in without looking where his team is.
Yeah, I feel the Poppy is gonna have a lot of the agency in terms of positioned appropriately, can provide that stuff that we're looking for. Remember, as Diana's trying to get into backlines, but she doesn't have much to dive, right? If you think about the way that these fights are going to play out, if you go flying in, you look for that big Diana like wombo to try and set up off a solar flare or something like that. Corki can Valk out, Ari can Spirit Rush out, Poppy can eject. It will be difficult to try and get the Diana in.
Yeah, that's also true. Like I feel like this will be a lot of will have a lot of situations where both teams just face each other and are waiting for the other team to make their first move so they can react on it. Because both of those teams can deny the engage of the other comp pretty well.
Yeah, they can't deny. However, I don't think it's going to be necessarily the honorable stare down where the two tanks just kind of look at each other and neither wants to pull the trigger. You know, the Braum situations where he's just daring you. Go on, dive, dive. I dare you, and then he throws up the E, throws up the R, and you just lose a team fight horribly because there are still tools that aren't committal. Charm being the huge one on this red team, and the Varus and the Hui especially looking to chip away at health bars. So there will still be exchanges of poke, you know, these volleys of arrows back and forth before the charge in, but particularly mispositions, they will just lose fights on the spot because there is this snap engage, but misengages will also lose a fight on the spot. There's two very sharp comps I feel on these two where you must execute or it will go sideways rapidly.
That's true, and I see that we are loading in right now. I'm just setting everything up, and then we can go in to the game.
Yep. Absolutely beautiful. Game one, Assassin's Creed taking on Shadow Phoenix. Remember, it is a BO2, guaranteed a second one after this. So get ourselves nice and ready. Things seemingly standard across the board. It is the exhaust for Delph instead of the ignite. So maybe a little bit less aggressive than your standard Leona. And yet, I don't disagree with it at all.
Yeah, I mean for Varus and especially for the assassins, I feel like they need to get to the like minute 10, minute 15 when they start to get their first items. Because in the early game, I feel like Rel and Corki really strong with Ari roams that you need to respect, with Viego ganks you need to respect. So this exhaust actually has pretty good value. Also late game when Viego goes in or when Ari goes in or even when Corki goes in, the exhaust can like shut down a lot of damage and just help your carries out even more because Leona can peel, but as you said, it's not a Braum, it's not the best peeler. So everything you can get here is really good.
Also worth noting, Corki, instead of going for that barrier that he often does, is the cleanse. So an exhaust will just be brushed off. So keep in mind you're going to try and get it onto, like you said, the Ari or particularly Viego, instead of dumping a summoner spell and immediately losing it.
Yeah, we can see the first trades going on.
Yeah, however, Crash Down Shield absorbing the worst of it, but some good auto attacking back. I Won't Leash is going to be making it a little bit lopsided, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world. Mount, remount all day long.
Yeah, and that's something you can expect. Just her jumping in, trying to get a good trade, and then walking out. This trade she kind of lost, but like it's whatever.
Top lane is going to sting. However, I Won't Leash is now backing away. Level 1 versus 2 Phosphorus Bomb connecting half HP on AD is a nice little trade as the top laners continue going hammer and tongs, waiting for that buckler shield. They're going to continue hassling each other. You forwards and Bessas don't stick around too long here. It's going to be a flash forwards. Poppy doesn't have it in her. A sliver Jordy almost making a fatal mistake at level 2.
Yeah, and I just saw that. I just thought that Neon is gonna solo kill Jordy at level 2. But yeah, Ambassador a lot of mobility, and she could just get out. I feel like if the Poppy flashed instantly, he might have could have gotten the kill. In the end, it's a flash for flash. Jordy gets to crash the wave. Or does he? Not completely.
W forwards, Neon. It's going to be a very tense standoff. Neither one of these wants to budge an inch. It is so far leaning the way of this Ambessa. And keeping in mind, 55% win rate to the Poppy in this matchup, at least in the more dysregulated solo queue environment. So this one hurts early. E forward, Shattering Strike. I Won't Leash is knocked up. Here comes the quirky damage. Facing the wrong way. He doesn't get the shred immediately as they continue to trade back. E forwards, Valk away. Ignite, burnt, Q forwards. I Won't Leash now taking the damage. Exhaust is not enough, and they get the first blood on the Rel. Looking to re-engage, flash forwards in exchange for Delph. 1-for-1 AD for Sup. Jungle not in time.
Yeah, and that's something that I kind of expected, that the Leona and the Rel, when they see a fight happening, they just go in, and the carries kind of get slapped by the other support for a while. In the end, both supports get the kill, but Corki gets to live, which is of course a small win for Shadow Phoenix. Meanwhile, in top lane, they just keep bashing their heads in. Both of them going to reset and TP now. So far, like a slower game, but like a game on equal footing. Like we don't see a team win out huge in the first minute so far.
I love the fact that this is considered a slower game with a near solo kill topside and 2 bodies in the ground by the minute 3 mark is slower.
Yeah, I'm always looking at the other games for comparison in this league. Like people just love to bash their heads in. We can see Diana approaching here, maybe.
E forwards, here comes the Diana wraparound crash down. The longer you stick, Val committed. Does he have another gap closer? Instead, just eating one more Q. The arrow not enough, and again, a sliver of HP to the name keeps them standing. Peel Force 1 lives to fight another day.
Yeah, and we can see the Corki still on a lot of HP.
I Won't Leash. Does he live? Auto for auto. 1-for-1. Both bots fall. Flash Spectral Maw is going to be absorbed by Maybe, and now it's a 2v1. Make it 3. And move speed away from the wall. Viego will also slip his way back underneath the tower. 2 for 2. One more kill for these feats.
And I just love the energy of Blue Shadow, who just goes in 1v3 and tries to kill the other ADC. He kills I Won't Leash in the end, who is already 2 deaths now. Who would you say came out on top in this situation?
I mean, honestly, I still think it's Varus, right? Because you're willing to trade gold back and forth if you're Varus into Corki. If you both just load into the game with 2 items, you're stoked. This is the most difficult part of the game, so going 1-for-1, you're probably still okay with it, and yeah, sure. It's 500 gold in the difference. It's effectively parity. You're still chilling.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the wave state was really good for Varus. He cleared the entire wave. We can see the Hextech Drake being taken by Shadow Phoenix. Meanwhile, the Grubs are being contested by the Assassins, but you can see the pings coming in. But will
Maybe
they
too late
be
as well.
fast enough?
getting off
Yeah.
the crab to try and run towards the top side. Not in time. Aishin just has to watch them fade. Level 6 is available. Wall pin connects. Stand United not going to knock down. So Neon just pops him in the air with the ult and walks on out.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what Neon wanted to do there because his team was just not around. I feel like it could have even gotten dangerous for him if they just turned on him with the Ambassador ult. In the end, a 0-for-0. They trade Grubs and Drake. So both teams now on one objective and on 2 kills. I believe for the boot upgrades you need 3 kills now, right?
Correct. Absolutely. Yep. Next kill will get you one of those feat components.
So really tight game. Like there's a 1k difference in gold, which is because of the farm in all the lanes. But it's still really close.
Absolutely. And still everywhere to play for. TP committed in the mid lane. As Winehouse is just going to be slipping back into that one. Trouble Bubble already burnt their own, walked on out. Level 6 available. Chains of Corruption splits the uprights. Not able to land that one. Peel Force 1, no flash. Happy to watch that CD go by.
Yeah, that's 2 minutes where Varus can't really do anything right now, especially when the oh no, Red is level 4. But yeah, especially when the Corki gets level 6, he can just poke out the Varus, and Varus can't really punish him for that right now.
Yep, the all-in threat definitely less terrifying. Charm does connect on this Trouble Bubble under the wall. They find the solo laner lacking. E is not going to be enough here. Flash forward 3v3. Bot lane. 2-man ult from the Diana as the support and jungles dive into the backline. Deuce Blue Shadow fight his way out. The exhaust keeps him alive for now, but it's 1-for-1. Peel Force 1 out. I Won't Leash continues to run for his life. Heartbreaker down. Gets the possess. Fighting his way out as the Varus body. The second reset. One more auto and he finds it. 3-for-1 bot lane. They do get their way bought.
Yeah, and I think that was a beautiful Viego piloting from Shiny Ushin. Like he gets barely out with the ult, with the takeover of his how do you say it? His victims.
Possess?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he possesses the victims, and he just gets 2 kills for himself, 1 more for the Corki, and Shadow Phoenix win huge here because they get 3 kills in the 3v3 bot lane. They also pick up Trouble Bubble on the mid lane, so now they are in really comfortable position.
I already, and significantly better than they were a moment ago when I said it was Varus favored. They're really, really feeling the lack of those chains, right? Viego, if he's locked down, doesn't get reset, doesn't get his second kill, doesn't get his third kill, but when you spend the cooldown, as it now comes up, and it will be thrown out again, this time absorbed, Wing away, into the crash down shield, but now they continue walking forward, half HP, I Won't Leash, trying to finish off the Rel, who lives again! Solar Flare is vouched, and they can't finish this horse!
And P-Force 1 is just living on the edge the entire game. You can see Amy
Here
Winehouse
comes
coming up, though.
Winehouse, has the ult, Spirit Rush forwards. No way of getting away from that one. I Won't Leash does get an avenging kill. Delph dancing through the fire and flames, but there's nowhere left to run. Charm, Q goes wide, and it will cost the life of the horse. This time he finally does get knocked down. Delph zigs, zags, and makes it out. Beautiful footwork from the Leona.
Yeah, that was just beautifully played and baited by Delph. In the end, I still feel it's good for Shadow Phoenix.
Check. Hold that for a moment. Level 8 versus level 7, and the Corki is inbound, forcing a flash. They do make maybe dip.
Yeah, they now they're just fighting it off. I kind of get punished for saying that it's a slow game. Like those teams do not want to hear it.
Public execution spent and whiffed, and Best is forced to flash away 3v2. They do have the jump on him, and they get the first one in Neon. Re-engage possible. Varus is caught, though he walks up with no support, no flash, no outs. 2-1-for-1. It's traded.
And I feel like that's a blunder by I Won't Leash. It's his 5th death already in 11 minutes. And I feel like Assassins had those grubs secured. Like they were 4 versus 3. Ari without TP not being able to come up. Trouble Bubble has TP, so this has to be their objective. But because I Won't Leash gets caught up, heals the Viego full again, they lose this one.
Yup, just trying to take the greedy path in, and all of a sudden, Shady Phoenix says, "Hey, yeah, no, not allowed." Jumps on him immediately, and as you said, not only the kill, not only the embarrassment of that, but also the objective to boot.
Yeah, and if I remembered correctly, you need all 3 grubs to get the stack for the boots. So they denied that.
However, the engage connecting onto Peel Force 1, not a red member in sight. Another catch, this time by the Varus instead of the Varus, as he gets his lick back. That's going to be Drake, set up by this blue squad.
Yeah, and now they get their first their first Drake. If they got those grubs as well, they would have had the boots by now. Oh no, they didn't get the first 3 kills, so they would have not. But they would have gotten another stack for those boots.
They come down to the tower here. It's up to Trouble Bubble, just doing a bit of zoning, never giving the 50-50 if you don't have to. Viego's just going to walk back into his jungler and securing that, no big deal, maybe smites it down.
Yeah, we see those teams on equal footing again. Like they are really close in gold. They are really close when it comes to items. Of course, you have the Malignants for Ari. Trouble will get his item now. Both ACs don't have an item so far. Both junglers do. And I mean, I was kind of hoping that we don't get a stomp by assassins, but Shadow Phoenix is fighting back really, really greatly.
Beautiful contest, absolutely. This was a stabilizing game. It was pretty much within, what was it? Within 500 gold early on. And then they take the lead. Now it's struck back. This one's gonna be a long fight, Linus.
Yeah, and I mean, I always think those games are the most exciting one, where they just go back and forth, back and forth. The team that looks like they are losing gets like a huge fight and then throws it one fight after. I like those games. I'm kind of concerned for I Won't Leash though. Like he already has 5 deaths. He seems to be out of position a bit too much this game, and he kind of needs to get that under control going later on.
I would agree. Maybe tightening up a little bit, especially where Delph now stands, that just greedy pathing might be worth tightening up. At the same time, it is still game 1. There will still be a second, right? So there's a lot more league to play, and you're just going to look to settle in at chains. Once again, connecting onto this rel. Q forwards, in comes maybe. They try and get the flash away. Re-engage is going to be knocked out of the air, and the Magnet Storm does nothing. Peel Force 1 down. E forwards. This Viego's forced to ult away himself. The exhaust driving him backwards underneath his structure as Shadow continues to slip back. Winehouse, crushing Maw goes wide, spiraling despair likewise. This Ari mobility just too much to try and pin down as Jordy and Neon continue hammering away up in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, they have not killed each other yet, but like they just keep on bashing their heads. Great pickup by the assassins here. That's something they need for the pressure. I mean, Viego gets out with his shutdown closely, but in the end it's still 1-0, which you take at this point, I think. And we have the Herald coming up in just a few seconds.
Yeah, a pick is still a pick, and Herald, you can see the gravity beginning to draw members up towards that top side. Viego is going to eventually make his way up as these 2 bot laners. The top laners, we may as well leave them to their own devices. They're just padding DPM at this point.
Yeah. I mean, damage goes for the Atakan, right? Like, the more damage you do, the more likely Atakan goes up there.
Yeah, kills and damage done. So they're just really wanting their little demon buddy to spawn up on the top side and have some company up there.
Yeah, but as you can see, it spawned bot lane this game. I mean, bot lane was also fighting a lot.
They were indeed. E over the wall. This is a Zenith Blade, a long way from home. TP committed. Maybe is now forced to flash away. Shiny does have one of his own if he wants to heartbreak in. Spectral Mob, but now he's in the middle of 4 people. Locked down, stunned up. And do they get the man? They find the heart of the jungle as now the mosh pit begins. Peel Force 1 jumps into 4 members, but he's got no follow-up. He falls as well. 2 blue members down as they continue to move towards Herald. 3-0. Assassins find the mark.
Yeah, and that was an overcommit by Shiny Hushin. He thought he can get a kill there, but he just jumped into a Leona stun, into the Ambassador AoE damage. And in the end, he just went down, and with him, the top laner Neon also went down. And now we got the next objective, and we also get first tower. So that's a boot upgrade that coming out of this fight.
Yeah, if you're Shin, you're gonna want that one back. Because not only, as you said, did you give the kill, but it was A, shutdown, B, the members who joined you, and C, the feats. So not only one, but two, but three, that's a massive swing back and plenty of security given over to the assassins.
Yeah, and this is the first time in the game where I feel like one team is looking like a lot stronger than the other one. I feel like Assassins is really the team favored to win here at this position. They got the Drake, they got 4 grubs, which gives them at least 1 grub spawn. And we have a frozen screen. Okay, it's unfreezing. Like the spectate since this patch is kind of broken. Let's hope that doesn't happen again.
As long as it doesn't stay crashed. I'm okay with freezes as long as it doesn't stay crashed. Flashing over the wall, Spectral Mon Diana's gonna jump in the middle of 4 people and get her damage off. Her combo will find. It's now up to the cleanup. Shiny Hushin trying desperately to get back to the possess, and he does find it. Diana down, eeing forwards. Hushin's gonna be knocked down by the Severing Bolt, and the May gets his man. Neon tries to peel, but is brought to his knees. Double kill for Hui. Trouble Bubble absorbs and dishes 4 for 1 in the long fight in jungle.
Yeah, and I think it was crucial there that maybe got the kill on the Corki. If Corki gets his triumph there and can still poke and still do damage, I feel like this fight could also go in the way of Shadow Phoenix. In the end, they lacked a bit of damage on the Leona and on the Varus to get more resets for the Viego. And we get the mid-tier 1 for Assassin's Creed, and they will recall and look for the Drake now.
They very much can, and reset does go off despite the efforts of Peel Force 1, so the Leona will be there in time. The vision will be lined out. Jordy gets a structure to all to his lonesome, and off the back of a single river fight up on that top side, Linus, it feels like the game starts to tip balance.
Yeah, we have a 5.5k gold lead. 0 towers taken by Shadow Phoenix. Hold on.
Sword item broken. Celestial opposition will be knocked down. Diana once in, desperately gets 2 with the engage. Knocked into the wall, but gets it done. Re-engaging here. Amy Winehouse is going to have to put the damage in here as Delph slides forwards. I won't leash untouched on back lines. No threat on Varus is dire straits for Shadow. The arrow is true. 1 for 4 once more, and Shelly continues the siege up mid.
Yeah, and it just gets worse and worse for Shadow Phoenix. They didn't see the wave flanking. They also didn't expect the Diana to go in there. I feel like they kind of moved back a bit when they were already somewhat escaped. And now it's an 8k gold lead. They also dropped the Inferno Drake. They lost 3 turrets on mid lane so far, 1 on each side lane. This just looks really, really rough so far, or at this point.
It definitely does. And all off of a singular moment. I hate to hammer it home, but this is the thing about League, right? Leads compound. And as such, now it's up to the Assassins to continue rolling it down. Objective bounties spawn, and plenty of gold to be picked up on the other side, but it's what we talked about in draft. How do you get there? How do you get onto this Hui who is maintained distance and his summoner spells?
Yeah, that's a big problem here, and also usually I would say yeah, it's only 2 drakes so far. Nash will spawn in 4 minutes, so you have time to clear waves, to get a bit of gold into your pocket, get your power spikes for the next big important fight. Maybe you can even drop a Nash if you have good wave clear, but I don't see the best of wave clear on the sides of Shadow Phoenix. And also there's a way, as you mentioned, the way can just poke you out. You try to def your waves under the tower, and Wei just throws his shit at you, and you just get zoned out. And I just think this is really, really tough to play for Shadow Phoenix.
I would agree. I think it does become extremely tough if a Baron is secured, where your D push is not there. REQ is not going to cut it. There's no Malzahar, there's no Sivers, nothing in that caliber. And as a result, you're going to see a lot of this. which is Trouble Bubble, QEing the wave, EEing the backline, and then, as you said, just throwing stuff at you underneath their wall, and that's gonna sting but not kill, spiraling Despair, continuing to chip away at Neon's health bar and force him back.
Yeah, and that's the range and the damage of the Trouble Bubble of the way. You got the enchanted boots. You got... Wait, are those the Ionian boots that are enchanted? No, it's
Those
the
are the
magic
pen
pen
boots.
yeah.
No, Sork shoes.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to the new icons there. Blackfire Torch in the Andres, he just does a lot of damage and he also burns his opponents. This way is really scary here.
It's absolutely scary, and Delph wants to kick off yet another fight. Q onto Peel Force 1. Shane's just a bit short. Ari is here to reinforce, and Delph might be on the receiving end of one of these charms. Charm goes astray. Jordy into the backlines. The Ambessa ultimate doesn't commit, but she gets into backlines all the same. Diana Moonfall and back lines explode. Nothing left to do but cry here as Shadow does fall. It's 3-for-1 so far. Neon pushed out again. Rel on a goose chase at the bottom of your screen. But the fight all but wrapped up here.
Yeah, and it's just like when I thought there's a chance to get back, maybe get some kills, get some gold, maybe even get an Atakan if you get a really good fight. But the charm misses, and then it's just downhill from there. You get one kill onto the support, but all the carries just keep standing and just keep running over Shadow Phoenix. And now you lost the Atakan. We get the, how's it called? The Guardian Angel Atakan.
Voracious Atacon. Hungry boy with the GAs.
Yeah. And what does it mean now? You have 130 on Nash. Would you go in this position? Would you go for Nash, or would you just keep on pushing as long as you have like the Guardian Angels up and available?
Oh yeah, you just siege. Siege. It's technically not as great as it once was, considering you have, hold that thought, Peel Force 1. If the E connects, he can always flip out over the back of the wall, but he's not in any immediate danger. Yeah, you just siege, right? You have the withdraws, so while it will temporarily remove you from the fight, you can always TP back in if you're Jordy. It's not going to cost you near full kills, and frankly, you don't need it right now. You can look to keep on threatening Peel Force 1. Once again, going to get locked up, but these are withdraws. Nice footwork here. I Won't Leash steps away from Spectral Maw and gets a kill in exchange, making him look silly with that one.
Yeah, and I Won't Leash, when I said he's on 1 in 5, he needs to stop dying, he didn't die anymore.
No more 1v3 here, and Best is going to be withdrawing to the safety of her teams and not spending her own withdraw, as we have... That is a Horizon Focus proc that just about got the shield from the front line. It's looking grim here for the Shadow members.
Yeah, and they are just losing the entire base now. And I mean, you can still take Nash. If you can't finish here, then just take Nash.
Yep. 3 inhibs, disengage, run towards this objective. You also can grab the Drake if you wanted to, right? 10 seconds. You can just go mop that up. It's you basically have your run of the Rift at this point. Whatever you feel is within your grasp. The world's your oyster.
I needed to mute myself for a second. Maybe we'll need to again in a bit. But yeah, now the whole entire base is open. You can see the assassins already going up. They have great vision in top lane, in top side. I mean, they just see when people are moving there, and they also got the lanes pushing. Do you even think they can contest this one?
No. To answer it briefly, no. I don't think you can. However, I think you must. Where if this is secured, you just lose. So maybe you throw Hushin in for a bit of a desperation steal. They're not going to even give him the opportunity. Heartbreaker committed. Lockdown all the same. A public execution wide once more. Jordy is not finding the mark on these consistently, and yet it makes no odds. Pushed out, but lives to tell the tale. Hushin, tail between his legs, severing bolts, then it too soon. Trouble Bubble with the snipe from the parking lot.
Yeah, and that, I mean, he was trying to tell the tale, but in the end he couldn't. He just got taken down. Jungle down, not even a chance to steal this Nash, and I feel like this Nash will end the game.
Yeah, that's
Unless...
gonna wrap it up here. Trouble Bubble is forced to flash away, spiraling despair. Maybe they can dive forwards and get the caught out of position mid laner, but nope, Jordy TP's in. 2v4, and they're liking their chances. Peel force one, force backwards with the crash down. Bolt goes wide. Winehouse in retreat with no ultimate to gap close away. Charm, ult, popped. 3-man displays. Poppy's able to get the knockdown. Maybe a play here to isolate one, but no follow-up damage so far. Jordy 1v4 waiting for the reinforcements to arrive. The cavalry jumps in and they crash through lines. Magnet Storm is great, but it does nothing. Assassins in Greed in 27 minutes put the finishing touches on a blowout mid-game and push themselves 1-0 up.
Yeah, and they threw everything at Jordy at the end. In the end, that didn't work out. They didn't even get the kill. And while the first 12 to 30 minutes were pretty good from Shadow Phoenix, like I was really surprised by how well they were fighting back. They even got leads. And then with that one play in the topside jungle where you lost the Herald, you lost the top lane tower, you lost the boots, you lost shutdowns, and from there it just spiraled out of control for them.
Oh yeah, it's completely impossible at that point because then you lose feats, structure, and objective, and a 5k gold lead. Like every single thing that you would walk down the list about talking about how a game's standing is and right, where do you fall in this game? Every single one of them went from close to horrible in one fell swoop. You give shutdowns, you give gold, you give structures, objectives, blah 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 blah. It's just over, and you could feel that weight crushing down. Desperation breeds errors, breeds game one in the bag. But credit to them, they fought well early on, and they were able to keep it close. And without that mistake, this game looks completely different.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, they lost game one, yes, but now they got on blue side. Assassins and Greed actually chose blue side for game one, so that was the preferred side by Assassins. And maybe if you can start to look at your mistakes that you did last game and maybe improve on them, I feel like game two could be really interesting. This does not have to be like a 2-0 stomp here.
No, it definitely doesn't have to be a stomp. And it honestly wasn't, right? With the exception of that moment we keep banging on about. It's only a matter of tightening up, and they made I Won't Gank have a miserable, miserable time early on.
Yeah, that's true. Albondish was pretty much taken out of the game. He was on 5 deaths at 11 minutes. Um, and Viego, Ari, Corki, all of them were really, really strong. And Bessa was farming well, but like she didn't get any kills. So there was not really a main carry that was completely fed on the side on Assassins, but you had multiple members on Assassin and Greed who were on Shadow Phoenix who were really strong. So if they can do that again, if they can go at the carries, if they can maybe win the bot lane again, make I Would Leash die a lot of times, then they can take the game from here. Now they're on blue side. Maybe they will secure a comfort pick on one. Maybe they get the Skarner, for example, if it's not banned out. Maybe the Maokai if it's not banned out. One of their favorite picks. But I mean, in the end, we will have to see what those teams will cook up now with the first game in mind.
Yeah, it's worth contemplating for sure. I do have reservations where it didn't feel like draft would have altered very much about it in terms of once it got out of control, it just was hopelessly out of control. Where a draft might not make a difference. Because there's like let's be realistic about this. There is a 0% chance that Hushin gets his Lilia, right? There is a 0% chance that Neon gets his Maokai. So what really changes that much about the draft with the side selection difference?
I mean, you're right on that. Maybe you can take out the Ambassador and not give Jordy like this powers of a champion because she was starting slow, but then later on in fights you just saw the damage, you just saw the pressure that she emitted. But then again, like maybe you can get the Varus as a first pick instead of the Corki. I'm not really sure what Shadow Phoenix can pick here. I'm
Hmm.
not the team captain. I maybe they have some champions in their backhand that I don't know about or that you don't know about. Um, do you have any wishes for like ban adaptations from Shadow Phoenix?
Ban adaptations? Oh, that was the opposite of the perspective I was trying to contemplate in my head here. I I don't think so, all things considered. I mean, I think the Zoe is a no doubter, in my opinion. The Skarner did not seem to be a champion that Hushin had been playing that much of. He's got a handful of games, but for the most part, it was just chaining Lilia into Lilia into Lilia. So maybe it could be the Skarner on the blue side themselves. So that would free themselves up a ban. But I guess it's less about the draft to me and more about the piloting of it because the draft felt okay. They just need one more form of hard CC because Trouble Bubble he was just dancing it out the entirety of the game. There was very very minimal threat that he didn't put himself into that actually was being posed to him.
Yeah, we can see the draft starting now. Zoe taken out again. I mean, it's a standard ban if you don't know what to pick
Shocker.
against it.
And the Lilia, wow, Nostradamus over here. Who could have foreseen this? Now, this is where it gets as interesting as in the third, I would say, because I expect to see Maokai also in this one, and then become the adaptations.
Yeah, that's for sure. Maybe we get Syndra on 2 here and they leave Skarner open on the Shadow Phoenix side. Because I feel like
Yep.
you wouldn't ban Skarner on blue side here. Not on 2.
So you're probably willing to take it as they wait all the way down. Instead, okay, well, that feels telling, Linus. That tells me our jungler doesn't play this because you'd be more than happy to take a blue one.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the Diana ban. That's the first new one. From the side of Assassins here. Is this pick really that contested right now? Because I don't feel like I don't feel like she's that contested that you need to ban her no matter what on red side.
No, that feels like a matchup specific ban. I feel like these two have scrimmed each other and Diana ran both sides of the map. That's the explanation to me, as Mbessa is going to be banned out as well. So some familiar faces return to the ban table, and Maokai, you gotta expect here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ambassa,
Okay.
Maokai out. So we got
Yep,
one
yep,
new
yep.
ban of each team. They banned out the top jungle from Assassins from last game, each taking one of those bans. Now I'm really interested in the approach that Shadow Phoenix goes here on 1. Because if they take the
Corky's and
Corki or the Viego again, I don't feel like that's going to cut the deal.
Corky and Varus definitely come to the top of my mind, unless you want to do something a little bit more ambitious. Jarvan reasonable. Honestly, I like it. I typically like it blue 3 or blue 2 once you've seen at least one mobile carry because stuff like Ezreal priority now spikes. Where anyone who can dip out of Cataclysm, you'd be more than happy to snap up here. Aries, etc.
That's true. But if you know the Assassins, there's not a single champion in the whole game they hate more than Jarvan because both their mid laner and their ADC usually don't go for high mobility ADCs. Ezreal is not a champion he can play. I mean, you have Kai'Sa, you have the ultimate, but that's still not the most mobile champion. She is short ranged. So Jarvan feels always like a good pick into Assassins, and it's one of those few teams where I would actually blind it on Blue One. We did that. I did that before in the past, and it always worked greatly. Um, Kog'Maw now being hovered.
A champ who's been sneakily rising in priority. Pair him up with an enchanter, pull the ripcord, and run. And the little void puppy. All right, puppy comp coming right up. Kog'Maw locked in for Shadow Phoenix. A roll of the dice, perhaps.
Yeah, we see 2 new bot laners here. We see the Xin Zhao and the Jarvan. So 4 new champions so far. Lulu being hovered, of course, Kog'Maw, Lulu pretty strong. Especially if the assassins don't get the greatest hard CC and engage. Okay, Blitzcrank, great counter. I love the Blitzcrank here.
Something about me doubts this, though. It's been so long since I've seen the Blitzcrank. It is a vintage counter, but that bot has been rusting in a corner for so many splits where in a world of 15 kajillion dashes, Blitzcrank is not found his footing 5 seconds. They haven't swapped off. I would love it. I would really love the bot, but I doubt it. Ah, boo. Yeah, spider sense is tingling. Never get baited by hovers, Linus.
Yeah, that's something that I always fall for when I cast. Um, the Rakan here. I mean, it's not the worst pick. I would have really hated it if they picked an enchanter here, which they sometimes do. Rakan gives them more backline access, gives them more CC. But I would have preferred the Blitzcrank just because Blitzcrank, if you pilot it well, you can just make so many plays, especially against Kog'Maw Lulu. Like no matter who of those you hook, it's always good.
Yeah, that chip is also so much fun to run around it, just mock Jesus, throwing out hooks left, right, and center. It was always a good time as the bands begin to pile up in the mid lane. Hui, Oriana, and Talia rounded out with everyone's new favorite arcane menace, Mel Medarda, will be removed from the mid pool.
Yeah, I've not seen her so far in games, neither in those that I played, nor in like the competitive games.
Keep it that way.
Um,
The champ is a
yeah,
horror.
yeah, I can imagine that. Like my OTP basically is a Lowy, and I just it would feel so bad if you just try to E the Mel and she just throws it back at you and you just stand there. Azir
Yep.
blind on 4, so they give the counter pick
Woo!
over to Jordy.
Okay, I am always fan of Azir's. He takes a little bit to get going, but DPS, mobility, engage, and clips. Azir has got it all going on as the Corki falls all the way to blue 4, but does eventually get locked in answer to the Emperor himself.
You know which pick I would love for top lane here? Ornn.
What's that?
Like you have
Ornn.
Kog'Maw, you have Corki, and then yeah, okay, I don't like the Volibear here. Like I just feel like Ornn would have given you so much that you need in this comp. Like CC, you get even more scaling. You get frontline. Now you have the Volibear. I don't know about this. I feel like Volibear is so easy to counter as well. Like
They
he's a
just got
strong
the wrong
laner, but
brother. They
yeah,
just they couldn't get the right brother, and they're like, it's the next best thing. Send little brother in, Volibear instead of the Ornn, locked in,
yeah.
and Jax in answer. So a 1-3-1 comp in the year of our Lord 2025 for the Assassins.
Yeah, and I hate this Volibear pick. Like he's not the greatest frontline. He doesn't scale as well as Ornn. He has less CC than Ornn. Like the best thing about Volibear, in my opinion, is his laning phase. Like he has a really strong laning phase, but he gets countered by Jax. Like if
Mm.
Jax can just shut down the stun, shut down the W rebite. I don't know. Like this Volibear just seems so out of place against this Assassin's comp.
What's a bear doing in Arlington, Texas right now? What's a bear doing on the Shadow Phoenix lineup? Hopefully, for those of you Phoenix fans, it is smashing a Jax matchup because, as you said, it feels like you got to get going early to fund your ridiculous Rod of Aegis Flicker Blades dark technology I've been seeing running around.
Yeah, he needs to get going early. I mean, he still has a lot of damage, like especially in fights together with Jarvan, maybe Corki and Lulu, whatever. Like he can do a lot of damage early on. His
Hmm.
E also really strong. Like he can push the Jax in. But as soon as like if the Jax is even at 2 items, he just completely beats the Volibear. If Volibear is not ahead, he can also not really do anything against Azir and Kai'Sa, because he will just get kited and poked out. But we'll see. I mean, Neon is the player to watch on the Shadow Phoenix lineup, like our matchup of the series. Maybe he will pop off here on the Volibear and we will look dumb at the end.
Whoa! How did this become a we? You're the Volibear hater up here. How did I get dragged into this? You were going on about the volley.
We are a team. Like we fall together and we rise together.
All right, I'll double down with you then. Yeah, this Volibear, he's got no chance. He's gonna get smashed by the Jax, and Feel free to clip this out of context. I'm a firm Volibear hater in this one exact game. Prove us wrong, buddy.
I will clip that and cut out in this one particular game, so you will just be the Volibear hater forever. But no, let's go away from the top lane. Let's look
Okay.
at the mid lane matchup, for example. The Azir against the Corki. Corki stronger early game, but like Azir should outscale the Corki. What's your opinion on that?
My opinion is I remember the days of Corki versus Azir and Azir versus Corki and Corki versus Azir. I've seen this matchup 1 kajillion times. It is a matter of you're gonna get a lead as Corki. What are you doing with it? And if that is 10 CS and a plate, that ain't gonna cut it. You're gonna need to do a little bit more with that. Get active on the map because Azir, as we all well know, does just become a blender later on. You gotta stop him from getting there. That being said, I want to slide all the way down to the bottom of the rift here and find Cog Lulu, who is your late game insurance policy. And if I'm Xin, I want to remove that insurance policy as soon as possible. I don't want that being cashed in. No paydays today.
Yeah, Kog'Maw, one of the OG bot lanes in League of Legends. It's been around for ages. I remember like season 5, season 4, you could also always see this comp running around. And no matter the meta shift, like with Kog'Maw, you can always do something just because they fit so great together. And yeah, like if you're assassins, you want to shut that Kog'Maw down. You want to snowball early. You want to get the Kai'Sa ahead, the Xin ahead. If Kog'Maw is even at 20 minutes, like he will be really happy with that. On the other side, Jarvan also wants to influence the spot lane. Like Kog'Maw is not weak early together with the Lulu. And if they can just kill the Kai'Sa, kill I Won't Leash 5 times again, if Kog'Maw gets 3 or 4 kills early on, like he will be a menace.
Oh, absolutely. If. But I will emphasize that. And it's all about the Kog'Maw Lulu. I'm sure all of you guys in chat, you've seen this before. It's all about that Cog W. Does he have Bioarcane Barrage up? If so, you're fighting. If not, you're seeding. One way or another, back and forth. So you're looking to try and bully out, use that extra range, use that on-hit damage, and make sure that you're leveraging your windows back and forth.
Yeah, like that's the timer that the assassins need to look out for. Because even in the 3v2, I feel like if Kog'Maw isn't being touched, if he can kite back with the W, that can get dangerous. On the other side, if he's out, they can even win a 2v2. They can just go in, get a good trade, maybe get a kill. So as you said, that's the big timer here. About the jungle matchup, we haven't talked about that one so far. Jarvan, Xin, two really common junglers for the past years. Which one do you favor here? Because I feel like Jarvan has not the greatest chance to jump on this game.
No, he does not. And this is exactly why you said that Assassins and Greed don't play mobile champions. And yet, I'm looking at Dash Champ, Dash Champ, Dash Champ, Dash Champ, Dash Champ. It's rare that it's every single champ. There is a world in which Jarvan can hit a 5-man ult and still have nothing. You know, he jumps on top of something and he raises his hand a little bit and then it's completely empty. Everyone can slip out of it. So in this case, I think I'd rather the Xin Zhao, the Crescent Guard, to remove what is ranged damage. Kog'Maw never wants to be inside that bubble. So you will be able to just kind of fight with impunity if you're Xin. Try and find those knockups. I feel like the Xin has the agency on that one, but there's still a chance of a catch out. And one thing of note I will say for J4, sometimes just run into the Azir's lane and EQ at him. Because if you force an Azir WE away, or technically it's an EQ away, that's like a third of his mana pool early on. So what you can do is just be annoying, run at him with 0% chance of killing, and just burn like 90 mana for fun.
Yeah, that would be a strategy to go at early on. I kind of hate how like every time I played against Assassin, we first picked Jarvan. Like it always worked. And then the one time where I want to boast like with my knowledge and with my insight on stream, I just get completely cucked by their draft.
Okay, but you know what
happens.
that does mean, though? That means they're adapting. That means you're running a league where there's evolution occurring. You know, procedural generation type of adaptations, very, very promising for the same.
Yeah, thank you for cheering me up. Um, who's your bet on for this game? Like, who do you think will win out?
Okay, so normally the standard fare is just to say, whoever won game 1 was the better team and they'll win game 2, right? That being said, I'm a big fan of Lulu Cog. I think that champ pairing is so nasty. That also being said, picture this. We're 28 minutes into the game. Lulu Cog have built a lead. They're starting to take over. We're going to talk about how, they have to be caught up for this game to get bad for Shadow Phoenix. All eyes on the ADC. And then Azir hits a shuffle and they die and lose. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting Cog to get a lead, eat a Shurima shuffle, the Emperor's Divide, die, and lose. It's a 2-0.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you say Shadow Phoenix because I actually wanted to pick the opposite of you, and I was feeling really good with the Assassins. That being said, I'm rooting for you, Shadow Phoenix. Make this an interesting 1-1. I mean, what a start to League if you have like three favorites and none of them goes 2-0 in the first week.
If everyone gets upset, okay, this is what we love to see in League, though. Top laners honoring the dance is mandatory in my book. Whoever breaks this, if they ever break this, they just lose on the spot, regardless of what the scoreboard says. You never break the dance.
Yeah, just shame on every top laner who does that. I always dance. I feel like that's just how you show respect to your opponent. Like you always battle it out. Like from the first wave onward, you just bash your heads in. But before that, you have a little dance.
Friends outside the ring, mortal enemies inside it. The top lane creed here. And yes, Jax was not fishing, and yet if he was fishing, the Volibear is free reign to fight him. So I don't mind that. The dance can be occurring. As we go through our pre-flight checks, summoners worth noting, it is defense for the bot lane. Blue Shadow and Peel Force 1 is heal barrier. That is going to be a lot of effective health to work through between the Lulu shields, peels, heals, barriers, yada, 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 yada. Tough. So early on, Kog'Maw absolutely on the right here.
Yeah, and on the other side, you can see the Ignite from Rakan. Delph, last time with Leona, he opted for the Exhaust. Now he goes for Ignite because they want to kill early. And that's what he's showing with that.
Yep, you're definitely looking to punish any sort of missteps, and yet it does feel ambitious to me because I believe, DDoS, I see you, buddy. The range advantage is absolutely something to consider, and the Pugmaw can be tough even with the Ignite to try and knock down early.
Yeah, especially because he took the barrier, which is just really great into Ignite. You get like 2 ticks that you just completely ignore. You have the Lulu shields, you have the Lulu speed up, you have like the heal of Lulu, as you said. From level 6 on, you also have the Lulu ult. That can just get really, really hard to kill. Would you have preferred a different summoner on Rakan? Because I feel like I would have still taken Ignite here.
No, I mean, all things considered, I think it's the better play. Exhaust defensible, but then you could have also run into a situation where, he lives on a tick and you would have been begging for that Ignite. So I think both reasonable. Ignite probably better. You do want to kill during your opportunities. However, you're stunned up in E. Jordy's going to take a lot of damage baiting here, waiting for maybe en route. Wind becomes lightning. Neon is caught far from structure, popped into the air with the Talon Strike. Leap Strike finishes first blood, baited beautifully. Jordy gets it up in the top lane.
Yeah, and that's just horrible for the Volibear here. Like, he got a good trade, and maybe if he gets like the flash bite onto Jordy, he can even get like a 1-for-1, which would be really great, considering that he didn't respect the gank. Now that maybe also gave the kill over to Jordy, that's just really tough for the Volibear, because he has a losing matchup, and he's now also, let's check, he's also 250 golds behind, 200 gold.
Certified Volibear Linus, Volibear hater Linus, he's rejoicing. Early on, 3 minutes in, you've already proven your point. Smartest man in the room, guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, I love Volibear, and I feel really bad to look at this Volibear being bashed, but I just I don't see the blind here, and I would have loved Ornn. Ornn is a great champion, and yeah, it would have been a good fit, but we don't get that here, so we don't need to talk about it any further. So far, we get the TPs from both top laners. It seems like Amy Winehouse is recalling. Probably will TP back, or not sure. No, he doesn't. Oh yeah, he does now.
It's also such a good username. I resisted the urge to do anything on about it early on, but while we have a moment with just farm on both sides, it's such a good username. Amy Winehouse in the mid lane, I approve.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty cool. I actually also like the name Peel Force One.
Force one, however, Neon it might get a trade back here. Nice little pop out. Also, keep in mind, remember there was a flash burn as Neon desperately tried to dip out, and Jordy didn't have to. So bad might go to worse here at level 6 if the Jax ever decides to counter-strike flash. There's nothing you can do about it. No snap mobility on the volley.
Yeah, I mean, what he still has going for him is that the Jax doesn't have Sheen yet, and Volibear just has more power in general early on.
Maybe en route, J4 is just a half step back here as he does get the flash out of the Kog'Maw, but here comes Jarvan here for the counter engage. Does he find the mark? Delph's at 110 HP as he dips his way temporarily. Maybe will also slip to safety. They got a combined health bar between 3 members as the AG squad return to the refuge of their structure.
Yeah, great counter gang by Shan Yushin here. Otherwise, it could have gotten kind of tough. But there you could see it. Like, they were 2 versus 3, and Kog'Maw got so much damage out with his W just kiting back. Like, when he gets some items, that can be really dangerous if you don't lock him down early on.
That was going to be my exact point of, and did you see the damage he did with the items he has built here as Delph? However, Blue Shadow down to sub 100 double digits. He's going to be forced to recall after this one. That was playing with fire, not popping the heal. Peel Force 1, great nerves, knowing his DPS.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, they get the crash in, so it's worth it. Big risk, but the reward is great. And you can see the farm difference on this Kog'Maw. He has 14 farm ahead. Like,
Yeah, he's over two waves in 7 minutes. Chilling here. However, stunning forwards. Nice little chomp, and look at the heal out of the Volibear. Yeah, okay. More or less full HP on a whim, however. Grub take, going the way of the red team, nothing left to be had.
yeah, that's the grubs, which are always good for the Jax, for the Azir as well. Like, if you get like more grubs, that's good. They don't get the kill on or the gank on top lane. Mid lane trades.
Nice little Q to kind of sweeten the deal here for Amy Winehouse as they dash forwards. And then the top laners are going to continue to hammer it out. Jungles, there's collision course for everybody. Ultimate pop, Grandmaster Might in kind, forced to flash away. Jax has no wards to hop if he does want to bail, as the ultimate does chip onto maybe. Cataclysm popped, dumped out of the barrel. He can flash if he wishes, but does he have the safety? Emperor's Divide buys his jungler's freedom. He may be the Emperor, but acting more like Moses at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw it multiple times now. People just fight and no one dies. The only kill, of course, the first blood. I feel like Assassin's happy here. They got the 3 grubs. They lost some flashes on Xin and on Jax. But yeah, they still got the objective and they didn't really pay for it.
Yeah, the cooldowns will come back up. These buffs are permanent here. Counter-Strike. Here comes maybe, though. Jordy is about to get his back. He does not finish the job. And 2-0 Volibear falls a second time pre-10.
Yeah, that was close. If he gets the kill, then it's still not good, but at least he gets something. Now he just died. But I like the response from Shadow Phoenix. They're like, yeah, let's not care about top lane. Let's just get this Drake. Get the Hextech Drake. And yeah, great for Kog'Maw, right? Like the attack speed and also the cooldown reduction. Like he likes that.
Yeah, carries are always going to like one extra Drake here. It is also the classic grubs on one side, Drake on the other. Standard. Again, parity early on. battling back. It's just a matter of Shadow trying to get some of these early kills that they found the first time to pump up that gold lead and close what is effectively Kog'Maw's CS lead versus the rest of the map.
Yeah, Kog'Maw is kind of holding the gold even. If we look at the individual gold, oh no, he's not that far ahead on Kai'Sa. I thought
He's got a
it would
kill.
be more.
He's effectively got a kill here as he continues to march forward. Whimsy popped by Arcane Barrage. Quickness will find the knockup. Barrier popped. Ignite ticking. I Won't Leash is forced to dip away from the Bio Arcane Barrage. I Won't Leash continue to put the damage to Peel Force 1, forcing the Wild Growth. 3-man knockup. Cataclysm finds a pair as well. Lulu under fire. Down she falls. It's up to Kog'Maw, who is popped in the air and blown up. Nothing left to do but run. Maybe down with the cleanup. Amy Winehouse gets the roam off, and it's a 2-for-1 in a protracted fight. EQ. Jarvan looking, does not have aggro yet, but a lot of Kai'Sa damage. Finally does pick up aggro. I Won't Leash, punishing the ambition of Shiny Hushin.
Yeah, the fight was kind of close. You got one kill. I feel like there was just a bit more damage needed to get like the kill on Rakan, the kill on Kai'Sa. But with that dive, also in addition to the 1v2 that you had before, like this is rough. Like they are 2.5k gold down. The Kog'Maw has his death. Like the gold lead he had on Kai'Sa is probably vanished by now. Yeah, he's even 100
Gone.
gold behind. This is
Yep.
such a tough game for Shadow Phoenix.
Yeah, that one does temper the aggression. Granted, this is not end of the world. This is still only 2k. There's still plenty to play for. No feet secured, nothing of that like. But your beloved Volibear is taking a beating topside, and the Kog'Maw just died. So, Amy Winehouse, the sole benefactor of the fight, who is down 20 CS, begins to be the member you need to look towards. Nice little buffer out there. Demacian Standard, and Dragon Strike to safety.
Yeah, I want to highlight someone here, and that's Maybe. Maybe he secured the grubs, 6 grubs for them. He got 100% kill participation. He got 2 kills on top side. He was there for the bot lane fight. So far, he's just put a lot of pressure on. Shiny Hushin usually was around as well, but so far Maybe has came out on top.
You're willing to take it, absolutely. And now again, CD spent. Where do you look? What's the next play on the checklist here if you're looking to keep it going?
I mean, you could always wait for the next Drake and fight that one, but that's kind of boring. And also, you give the Kog'Maw time to maybe get closer to his Rage Blade. I believe he will be built here. It's kind of hard though. Maybe you can get another catch on the Volibear, but Xin is bot side, so that's not really a possibility. Maybe you can get a counter gank on Jarvan. Doesn't look like that's also something that will happen. It's kind of hard to get something here from the Assassins, right? Like, they don't have the tools to really shut down anyone who's playing passively so far.
No,
that being said,
granted,
proxy volley.
Granted, I don't think you necessarily have to, right? As much as we are hyping the Kog'Maw scaling, and yes, he does scale to the moon here. However, Neon is on a very long walk. I'm not even sure I'm wanting to play-by-play this one, as this bear is a long way from the pole, throwing the ultimate down just to bounce it up a little bit. Gets the backlines, but that is an ult for 3 caster minions. Not the greatest deal in the world.
Yeah, like the Jax has a Trinity. Just when I was about to say, like, yeah, you can just play passively from Shadow Phoenix, Volibear runs to the tier 3 to the Inhib Tower.
True.
But he has the TP, and Drake is coming up. Jordy also has the TP. Maybe we get a 5-on-5 teamfight here for the Drake.
Could very well be. Knocked up is Lulu, but no further follow-up. As soon as the W is popped, you must bail from the little Void Puppy. Trouble Bubble and Winehouse can be trading once again, 2/3 HP, and some fruit to top up. It is still AG slanted. These assassins continue to possess the river.
And you highlighted before the game that Corki kind of needs a lead, and it can't just be a 10 farm 1 plating lead, it needs to be a bigger lead. Now he's nearly 30 CS down. Like,
up a kill,
this
granted.
is really rough. Yeah, he's up a kill. In total gold. Okay, he's even in gold.
Where? All square. Yep. 30 gold, 1 kill. That makes sense to me. 2k HP. Hold your fire. Hushin has got to look here. EQ forward. Smite fight. Honorable. And it goes the way of the red team. J4 down. Cataclysm spent before he does so. Amy Winehouse is going to be knocked up with a quickness. In comes Kaisa damage. The Rakan dips to safety. Runs out at the speed of sound. They get nothing and lose a pair.
Yeah, the rocket from Corki going wild. Even if he hits, it's not worth, I feel like. Now it's just you gave up 2 kills. You also wait, hold on.
However, Flash Counter-Strike 2v1, the bot lane versus top lane, and he gets one, smacks the tower on the way down. Shut down he will be. Jack's going for the montage and gets half of it.
Yeah, that was a ballsy play by Jordy. He gets 1 kill, gives the shutdown to Kog'Maw, so I don't think that was the way to go.
Not
On
worth
the
it
other
all,
side,
but it did look good.
to complete what I was saying before that, you gave up the kills, you gave up the Drake, and you also gave up the boots again. And now you're again at a position where you kind of need to do something. Like you need to find picks to get back behind. On the other side, if you throw again, if you go for the next thing and you lose that one out as well, the game already becomes like last game, pretty unplayable.
It does. It gets very tough very fast. I'm also cracking up with the fact that every time we cut away to Neon, he's at a different place on Summoner's Rift. This man is top T3. He's enemy Raptor camp. He is bot lane. This is a well-traveled bear. I will say that much.
Yeah, I mean, at least he's doing that. He got the Rod of Ages now, which is great that he gets that one ticking up. Also, we get the Ginzus on Kog'Maw. Everyone has their first item completed besides the supports, which is to be expected. Yeah, maybe if the Kog'Maw gets more gold, if you can just chill for a while, that's great. But we see tier 1 being dropped mid lane.
This is a big siege, however. To break open mid T1, that does not need an introduction here. Hushin, do not press that R key. Do not press that R key. There's everyone who can dip out of it, and you cannot contribute from there. Harold's got to be next on the chopping block as the swag flag dropped, and I won't leash spam some emotes in kind. That's a perfect exchange right there.
Yeah. We got a 4.5 gold lead. The Azir tower down, that's gonna get them some pressure for the Herald. Jax in the meantime, Jordy going for that bot lane tower, trying to get the next tier 1, the last tier 1. I feel like it's really hard to do anything for Shadow Phoenix here. Like, they can't really get anything on this map so far.
However, polymorph and no mobility. This Azir is going to take a beating. Assassin's Greed mid falls, and he does get one in trade. Blue Shadow's got nowhere left to go here. It's a 1-for-1, and I was just about to find the point of Blue Shadow can't play this game without Flash, and he doesn't have it at the moment. Meanwhile, both top and bots going to hammer and tongs here. Shiny Hushin forcing out that Cataclysm, flashing into the pits of the Volibear and flash away. Throws the ultimate, one more auto for I Won't Leash, but he doesn't find the mark. Two-man Counter-Strike and is exchanged. Beautiful, living up to the name Counter-Strike. This Jax gets paid, and he's going for more underneath mid T3. Slaps him over the head with the limp. Imagine this man with a real weapon. Jordy does what he needs to do with just a light post.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that Shadow Phoenix is trying to get something. Like, I really hate it when teams, they are behind and then they don't do anything and just let the game go on, and then they lose. I like that they want to fight, but I just feel like you got the 1-for-1 on the Azir, and then you can just chill for the next Drake. Like you got already a kill for Kog'Maw. Why do you need to commit for more when Corki is not even there? You're fighting into the enemy carries. Even if you get a 1-for-1, the chance that the opponent gets a kill on the carry and you just get it on a Volibear or on a Jarvan, it's just not worth it. And if you're so far behind, it's even unlikelier that you get like a good outcome out of that.
It does reek of pressure beginning to set in, where you feel the game going away from you and you need to claw something back. It's, however, not out of reach yet, despite what it says at the top of your screen. In my opinion, there are still slivers, there are still moments, and one big whiff, especially, can be so much gold into the Kog'Maw. You're banking exclusively with Blue Shadow. This is up to the Kog'Maw right now. Corki feels eliminated from the game at this point in time in this map state.
Yeah, this is really hard for the Corki. I also don't really see how Corki is going to do much this game. Xin and Jax will just beat him up if he gets too close, and Azir outranges him. And Kaiser's just so far ahead that he can't really do anything against her as well.
Mm.
This Kog'Maw can, if he gets more items and if he gets good fight where he's peeled for, he can get really strong.
So
Do we get a
and
pick
maybe
here?
does take a third of his health bar so far. Cataclysm spent. 3-man knockup. The Rakan turns it around. It's up to bail out so far. Redemption value is extreme. They do get everyone to safety, maybe included. And no one falls. But once again, look at the sums, Linus. Blue Shadow has none.
Yeah, and including the Lulu ult, which also went down. Of course, the cooldown not too big, but right now the Kog'Maw is defenseless.
The sum total of his defense is help picks. You got 300 HP to work with. Good luck, bud. And that is a lot of sharks circling here. Amy Winehouse, Valk, Flash does escape so far. Killer Instinct forwards underneath the tower. I want leash. May be able to get the way on out. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Neon and Jordy. But this is one victor guaranteed. Killing spree for the Jacks. Bot lane fizzles. They get out with everybody for the Assassins. And once again, it's 2 for naught. 3-16 in some. The game is running out of control.
Yeah, if it wasn't before, now it is. Yeah, Atakan also spawned on top lane. It seems like Assassins recalled to get that one. Meanwhile, Jordy gets the tier 2 on top lane, which is 700 more gold into his pocket. He likes that. Yeah, just on every single position, the Assassins just have more gold than Silver Phoenix, Shadow Phoenix, sorry. They are from the Orc Silver Phoenix. I just don't see how you can really come back from this. Maybe with a steal on Atakan, that can help, surely. But besides that, I'm not that sure.
Yeah, time feels like the only equalizer, and it is not something that will be bought cheap. Assassins Agreed are not going to give that. And again, speaking of time, look at Blue Shadow's flash cooldown, not even half up. This guy's got to try and navigate a minefield with nothing but a couple of toothpicks as the Atacon does get set up.
Yeah, they don't seem to be contesting it. Maybe a steal from Jarvan here, like that could be a way to go.
Perhaps does throw out the Demacian
goes
standard.
in.
Maybe he can't go in for the 50-50. He'll have a chance, but it is still steady hands. Maybe makes it a no-doubter here as the J4 falls once again.
Yeah, I mean, I like that he goes for it there, and it was kind of close. Like, I feel like maybe
He got in.
he can get it, because it was on 1,200 when he died, so he could have smited it. They get the mid tower, which I like. They try to get at least something.
Long-range Void Seeker means that the Lulu is down. A snipe out from that Kaisa W continues to crank the pressure, and 3-18 base broken in 22 minutes. Baron hasn't even turned up yet, and A and G are looking to get this done in a hurry. Next inhib under fire. 2-man shuffle. The Emperor's Divide is beautiful. They look to wrap this one up right here, right now. 23 kills, 23 minutes. They do have the withdrawals if they go under. Cataclysm, last stand. Can they fight their way out of a corner? They don't even get a single one of the buffs. And Linus, that'll do it. The 1-1 dream is dead. 2-0 sweeps here for Assassins and Greed.
Yeah, and that was a great showing by the Assassins, who have like after the draw of yesterday, they are the new favorites of the league, at least for now. And it kind of went the way that I thought before the two games. Like, I don't know if you remember, but I said Like Assassins is for me the clear favorite. I can see Shadow Phoenix on a good day. If Assassin also has a bad day, they can take games from them. And for some extent, it felt like it. Especially in game one, you had like those 12, 13, 14 minutes at the beginning where you looked like you can compete. After that, Assassins and Greed got their shit together, and also Shadow Phoenix got a bit shaky, and then it just went how I expected it to go.
Yep. It felt like as soon as that first game went, it was controlled from there on out, and the favorites took care of business. If I'm not mistaken, you said at the beginning of the day a 2-0 puts you on top. Is that sole possession of first place?
No, there are other 2-0 teams, but they are considered like weaker teams. Like they are like middle of the table teams, maybe bottom teams. We had like two of the teams who were considered like the 11th and 12th best team of 12 teams
Mhm.
going up against each other. So there's also a team with 2-0. Of the favorites, they are the only one with 2-0. Of course, there are also teams who are tied. But yeah, they are in a great position now to take over the top position against the other teams.
Gotcha. So, looking forwards to seeing the dominance continue, or one of these 1-1 teams looking to upset the apple cart. But to the best of my knowledge, the 2-0 sweep, that's going to do it for us. Linus, anything you want to tee up for the next one through, or are we ready to wrap up the stream and get out of here? Hustle off with the sweep at speed.
There's one last thing I would like to talk about for like 1 minute, and then we can wrap it up. And that's the matchup of the series. Just as a wrap up, who do you think took this one?
I fear this might be a lopsided debate. It, yeah, I don't like bashing on players, so I will refrain from doing so. But the Volibear hate was justified. That was a horror. I'm pretty sure that he's an endangered species after that game. This Jax just unrelenting with his team piling on. And game one, the Ambessa looked delightful. Game two, the Jax looked worse. You got to give it to Jordy in this one. That's a no-doubter for me.
Yeah, I mean, crucial analysis there. Yeah, Jordy just he was shining on both the Jax and the Ambassador. Like he got some kills in the Jax matchup, and in both games in team fights he was in the backline, he was a force. While I thought the Poppy had some good moments, the Volibear definitely did not. Um but yeah, like that's only the first week, so there's a lot of room to improve, a lot of room to redeem yourself, and with that, I'd say we wrap up the stream. Thank you very much for joining me, Sandbag.
It's been a pleasure anytime. I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more of the Sanctuary, and I'm sure the rest of y'all are. So, in the next one, week 2 coming up down the line. Keep an eye on those socials. We'll be spamming out the links. See you guys in the next one, and take care.